So today lecture topic is Sociology of Education. I think there is easy topic for you. First of all, I promised, if you remember, to say about data analyzing, data processing, analysis, interpretation, data coding. So let's start for your and useful information for your intern. Так. Can you see the slide?
Yes, we see.
Great, great. Today is important information for you. For your correct analysis. So you know, yeah, that there are 7 main frequencies in social revelation. As the first stage, the key question and hypothesis are formulated. Yeah, you formulated question and hypothesis. They determine the design of the study, the following of the individual units of analysis, variables, and how they are measured. After this number, a decision is made about how many units of analysis you will study. Yeah. Next, using one of 4 or more data collection methods. Subsequently, the collected data is prepared for analysis. All control procedures are available. And finally, at the final stage, the analysis and interpretation of the data was carried out. So, in the strict sense of the way of processing and approach to data analysis in a variety of specific methods that we use to collect information, yeah. And yet, the general logic and order of organizing the process of processing and analyzing meanings in many social studies. Conducts the processing and analysis of research data using the survey method, because most of you use survey method. So I will give examples, a lot of examples today. I'm planning. So data processing. Before analyzing the data, the researchers perform data processing, that is preparing the data for analysis. As James David and Tom Smith point out, this is where the potential for error is higher. Yeah, it is therefore crucial that the data processing is carried out in accordance with all the necessary rules. Data processing consists of several procedures: editing, coding, data entry, and database cleaning. You need to do all of procedures. Some of these procedures are performed using computer programs. Later, I will give you a link for your computer program for education. So data, data editing. Editing is a control procedure that is carried out most often when paper questionnaires are used. Its purpose is to make sure that the questionnaire are complete. The respondents' answers are not contradictory. All transitions have been followed. The labels on the questionnaire are legible, and the respondents' answers are ready to be coded. Data editing can take place both during and after data collection, and sometimes during the coding process. For example, in the case of face-to-face interviews, data editing takes place during the fieldwork phase. This consists of making sure that all questions are answered. If some questions go unanswered or the interviewer does not record them accurately, data editing involves recontacting the respondents to clarify his or her answers, or the interviewer can reproduce the respondents' answers from memory. Okay. In the case of large-scale surveys, the editing and coding procedures are usually combined. In particular, when examining the questionnaire, the people in charge of data processing check for accuracy, whether all questions are answered, whether the transitions from one question to another are observed, whether the respondent has indicated or exceeded the allowed number of answer choices, how detailed the respondents have answered the open-ended questions, whether the location of the questionnaire is indicated, etc. The case of computer assisted survey, CAP method, telephone CAT method, or web-based survey CAWY method, this task is greatly facilitated. This because the electronic questionnaire minimizes for the risk of incorrect completion. For example, if an answer question involves only one answer, you will not be able to select 3 answers. The electronic questionnaire also automatically transitions from one question to another. Most of you use the online method. So next step, encoding. Кодирование, говорят. The next step is coding. In the coding process, a quantitative value, a code is assigned the various values of the variables. In the case of questionnaires, a code is assigned to the answer to each question. If you pay attention to the question on your screen, have you seen the table? Figure number 1.
Yes, we see.
Great. You will see that we have assigned a code to each possible answer. Yeah? For example, first код уровнем организации теплоснабжения. Да? Вопрос идет, насколько вы удовлетворены? Один ответ по каждой строке. Уровнем организации теплоснабжения. Видите, код у него идет. Удовлетворен 1, не удовлетворен 2, не пользуясь 3. Это они кодированы. А заранее уже в анкете. Еще есть код вопроса и код ответа. Уровень организации теплоснабжения, код вопроса 1, уровнем организации водоснабжения холодной и горячей воды 2, уровнем организации водоотделения и канализации 3, etc. Answers for question have code 2, codes 2, 1, 2, 3. Can you see? Do you understand me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you understand me? In English in particular, satisfied has code 1, not satisfied, has code 2, and do not use has code 3. This is an example of coding a closed question. Okay? So, in particular, okay, next. If you want to code semi-closed question with the answer choice others, да, многие отмечали другое, в конце ответа вставляли. An open-ended question, you will need to develop a coder. You will tell you how the answers to semi-closed and open-ended questions were coded in the research we carried out at the Молодежь Research Center. I will give you an example, a real example. Исследовательский центр «Молодежь» проводил это исследование. Я была экспертом. So, the object of your research was young people. Do you understand? Yeah, object, young people. The survey research sample was typical 2,000 respondents between the ages of 14 and 29. After they received parcels with 2,000 paper questionnaires, the Zoological Research Department proceeded to check the questionnaires and code the responses. An equal number of questionnaires were distributed among the staff and members of the department. Each employee checked the quality of the questionnaire and participated in coding the answers to the semi-closed and open-end questions. Let us take as an example the way of coding response option other in the following questions. So this question, can you see figure number 2? Question was, я сейчас назову ряд проблем в сфере ЖКХ. Какие из них, с вашей точки зрения, наиболее актуальны и значимы для вашего населенного пункта? Can you see? Please, students, listen.
Yes.
It's important for your research. И you see, yeah, так, 18
Yes.
answers, yeah. Первый идет там высокие тарифы на коммунальные услуги, низкое качество коммунальных услуг, обветшание жилого фонда, отсутствие надлежащего контроля со стороны госорганов, высокая стоимость жилья и так далее. At the end of question answers, you see, yeah, 97, код 97, нет никаких проблем. Can you see? 98. Другое напишите. 99, затрудняюсь ответить. 97, 98, 99. There are coding. Okay? So, as you send your screen when answering the question, respondents could selection on. Okay, вернемся к тексту лекции. Could selection on unlimited number of answers and addition indicate their answer choice in the other column. In order to code the responses on the other column, the head of department created a simple Word or Excel document. Departmental staff then proceeded to examine the responses provided by respondents in the other column and decided whether to assign a separate code to then response or whether it could be meaningfully associated with the response option listed. Yeah. For example, a respondent indicated the following answer under other, другое на русском. No snow was ever removed from the courtyard of our house during the whole winter. The address where the survey was conducted indicated that the respondent lives in a flat. Thus, we understand that the content of this answer refers to the sixth opinion. For example, the problem is related to the improvement of adjacent territories. Therefore, in this particular questionnaire, code 6 is indicated against other. Answer in the other column, which could not be meaningfully attributed to the listed options, were put into a codifier. Кодификатор называем на русском. Codifier. A sample of this codifier can be seen in your screen, figure number 3. Видите, да? Здесь уже идет кодификат на этот вопрос. Смотрите. Понимаете, да? Видите, здесь уже начиная с 19, видите, 19 кодировка идет. Can you see?
Да.
На населенном пункте нет почты.
Yes.
Здесь мы оставили, уже начиная с 19, видите, здесь ответ 18 заканчивается. 19 мы уже начинаем кодировать по-новому. Главное, чтобы не повторялось в этих вариантах ответа. Я думаю, у многих у вас есть такие semi-closed questions, и вы должны закодировать каждый ответ. Смотрите, чтобы не повторялось. For example, respondent answers, yeah, нет интернета. Это же связано с плохой связью. Надо по смыслу смотреть. Окей? 20 has a sense, плохая связь, нет интернета. 21 нет освещения на улицах, да? Ну, видите, не повторяется, да, получается. Смотрите, 26, 27, отсутствие питьевой воды и плохое качество воды, грязная вода. Категория, видите, и суждение, они одни и те же. Главное, чтобы не повторялось. Категоризируйте ответы респондентов. 27, низкое напряжение в электросети. 28, дорогой и некачественный уголь, нехватка угля. Получается, вот эти все коды, then you need to put in the SPSS program. Получается, каждый ответ, каждое слово, каждый вопрос кодируется, чтобы вывести многомерный анализ в SPSS. Я покажу SPSS немножко сейчас, коротко. А затем дам линк. Там идет обучение, ну, такое короткое, как вбить все в SPSS. Google формам вы только получите одномерные исследования, данные. So, thus you can see that the respondents indicated 50 different problems, yeah, in the sphere of housing and communal services, many of which were private in nature. Therefore, as a stage of analysis, the listed problems were grouped into 3-4 main blocks. Можно их еще сузить, разделить на 3-4 блока. The answers to the open-ended questions were coded in the same way. Okay? Получается, открытые вопросы. Почему я всегда говорила, старайтесь делать со шкалами закрытые вопросы. И ставьте other, да, другое в конце. Потому что если вы бы оставили open questions, представляете, сколько вы ответов бы потом кодировали, сидели бы. Каждому слову придумывали бы код. Это бы работу намного усложнило. So, next step, data entry. Once all respondents' answers have been coded, yeah, you can proceed to the next step, data entry. Data entry can be done manually or by scanning the questionnaires. For this purpose, a questionnaire layout is created in statistical analysis software such as SPSS, CAC, Stata, MATLAB, PSPP, I forgot to write. The layout is created according to the instructions for the application of the particular software. Essentially, a questionnaire layout is a table in which the previously coded answers of respondents are entered. A questionnaire layout in Excel format may look as follows. See figure number 5. Guys, you see Excel, yeah? Смотрите, в Excel вбиты уже коды. SPSS похож на Excel. Но там есть дополнительное окошко, я потом покажу. Видите файл Excel в слайде?
Только презентацию видим.
Вот презентация есть внизу.
Да, видно.
Там идет NN, да? A, смотрите. Колонн A, NN это номер анкеты. Регион. Видите, кодированный каждый регион. Там идет первый только регион виден. Пол. Видите, первый, второй, мужской, женский закодирован. Получается, если по горизонтали, первая анкета, регион, кто отвечал? Регион первый, пол, первый по коду, возраст 14, первый question number one, получается Q1, да? Первый ответ он выбрал, код первый стоит, question number two стоит первый, Q3.1, Q3.2, Q3.3. Почему так? Бывают же некоторые вопросы, да? Выбрать несколько вариантов ответа. Тогда мы этот вопрос, сколько было дано вопросов одним респондентом, на то и разделяем. Видите, здесь возможность давать 9 вариантов ответа. Видите? Can you hear me?
You are welcome.
Видите, Q3.1, как третий вопрос растянут, как четвертый. Видите, это все вот так вот кодируется, чтобы визуально вы поняли, о чем я говорю. So, the first column indicates, ну это все на английском, то, что я здесь. Давайте повторюсь. Может, что-то я забыла. So the first column indicates numbers of the questionnaires. The second column is the region, I said, in which the survey was conducted. Hello? Can you hear me?
No, yes, we can.
I think I have a problem with internet again. Oh my god. In this case, code 1 corresponds to Akhmolo Oblast as the region according to alphabetical order. Получается здесь region 1, код это Akhmolo region. So, for example, you can see that male teenager aged 15 living in Akhmolo Oblast answered question number 9. Further, each column of the letter corresponds to a different question. Sometimes questionnaire contain tables of questions where the respondent is asked to answer each line separately. In this case, a separate column is created for each sub-question in LIAT. For example, if a tabular question contains 9 items sub-questions, then 9 separate columns are created in LIAT accordingly. Окей, я это уже проговорила, да, на русском. So, next step, cleaning the database. Once all the data has been consolidated into one database, you can move on to the final stage of data processing. This step involves cleaning the database. Database cleaning mainly involves identifying input errors. If, for example, the data for a particular respondent show that he or she is unemployed, the cells describing his or her current position should be empty. If they are not empty, it is necessary to find the correct questionnaire and check the employment status of the respondents. The necessary corrections must then be made in the database. Для чего она делается, да? Cleaning the database также может проделаться для корректировки сэмпла, выборки. Also, the answers to a particular question of the questionnaire may be coded from 1 to 10, but code 11 is indicated in the database. In this case, it is also worth checking the questionnaire and making the necessary corrections. So, data control and conversion. Once the database has been cleaned, you can start analyzing it. There are a variety of methods for analyzing data. Choosing a particular data analysis method depends primarily on what questions we want to answer. Two classes of analysis procedures can be distinguished: univariate and multivariate. Я это говорила как одномерный и многомерный анализ. Univariate and multivariate. The purpose of univariate analysis is to describe a single variable at single point in the time. Это вот то, что у вас выходит по Google форму, да, диаграммы. Это больше у вас univariate analysis. Multivariate data analysis allows the relationship of two or more variables to be examined simultaneously and hypothesis about the causal relationship between them to be tested. Я вам говорила, да, что гипотезы вы можете только проверить in multivariate data analysis. Data analysis is performed using statistical analysis techniques. Traditional two types of statistical data analysis are distinguished: descriptive and inductive statistics. In the case of univariate data analysis, descriptive methods are used. Да? Когда вы используете Google Form, он у вас univariate data analysis показывает, у вас в статистика анализ получится descriptive, описательный всего лишь. In multivariate analysis, both descriptive and inductive statistics or statistical inference theory are used. Поэтому, ребята, стараемся понять SPSS. Вы же как бы технари, я думаю, он легко вам удастся. и делаем более глубокий анализ, окей? Inductive statistics. Я буду ждать у вас обработанные в SPSS или PSPP анализ очень глубокий, не описательный. Univariate descriptive analysis.
Получается, анализ нужно сдать на этой неделе, да?
Да, на этой и на следующей. Вы, когда будете защищать, разделитесь по группам, хорошо, чтобы успели practice task и intern защитить, окей?
Анализ на этой неделе, да?
Да,
надо.
на этой неделе лучше закончить, хотя бы начать, да. Univariate descriptive analysis is, yeah, we have time, yeah? Gohar, do you have any questions?
У меня есть вопрос, но я вам лучше...
В конце, да? Или потом, как в университете. Univariate descriptive analysis is the simplest way to transform data. The main purpose of any transformations of empirical information is to present it in compact, condensed form for detailed, meaningful analysis. Ребята, вы можете, знаете, с анализом, если будет тяжело, завтра, у меня сегодня просто онлайн, завтра дня офлайн, можете, в силабусе написан кабинет, можете подходить и спрашивать, хорошо? Окей? Договорились? Obtaining linear distributions of the values of the variables in an empirical data set is the simplest form of data transformation. A linear distribution of empirical information is obtained through a counting procedure. The number of actually recorded values, all of variables, is counted. The results of counting are presented in absolute and relative values. Thus, there are two types of linear distribution: frequency distributions and percentage distributions. Понятно, да? Частотное распределение и процентное распределение. Okay? Let us give an example of the linear distribution of answers of 1,200 respondents to the following questions. Where is my example? Yeah. Question. In your opinion, can an average person, when applying to the Court of Republic of Kazakhstan, count on fair resolution of her issue? На русском. Как вы считаете, может ли обычный человек, обратившись в суд Республики Казахстан, рассчитывать на справедливое решение его вопроса? Yeah? You see the table. Can you see the table? Figure number 6.
Yes.
Yeah, great. The first frequency column, yeah, you see, indicates the number of respondents who preferred the answer options. Смотрите, вот так выводит SPSS. Такую таблицу выводит SPSS. Смотрите, шкала какая. Да, может, да, скорее может, нет, скорее не может, нет, не может, затрудняюсь ответить. Это было все закодировано в SPSS. И она потом выводит по частотам, по процентну. Валидный процент, накопленный процент. Больше всего используется обычно валидный процент и частота. So the first frequency column I said about. So we see that answer option yes, it can was preferred by 467 respondents. The percentage distribution of responses to this question indicates that 38.9% of respondents prefers answer option yes, maybe. Yeah. So the valid percentage is the percentage of values for each category minus the missing value. In the case all 100,200 respondents answer the question. So the percentage of the total and the valid percentage are the same. Cumulative percentage are the sum of percentage of valid responses. For example, the percentage of respondents who answered yes, it can, or maybe, and yes, it can, but a lot depends on the specific case, is 75.9%. The higher the cumulative percentage accumulated to the last factor, the more valid the factor decision is. If it is less than 50%, the number of variables should be reduced or the number of factors should be increased. In this case, the cumulative percentage is acceptable. So, I say it about this. The results of frequency or percentage. Опять проблемы с интернетом. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Сейчас слышно.
Okay, continue. We have some informations. Most of information I said yet. As a result of frequency or percentage distribution can be presented graphically using histograms, pie charts, and other visualization techniques. Figure number 7. Видите, да? Распределение ответа исполнительный вопрос. Как вы считаете, может ли обычный человек, обратившись в суд Республики Казахстан, рассчитывать на справедливое решение его вопроса? So, in addition to frequency and percentage line distribution, descriptive analysis involves calculating various descriptive statistics, arithmetic mean, median, mode, standard deviation, range, etc. В СП сессии, давайте на русском проговорюсь, также можно выбрать медиану, арифметическую среднюю, моду, standard deviation. Знаете разницу между модой и арифметическим средним? Students, do you know differences?
Знаем, мы проходили статистику.
Ну, классно тогда, все. То обычно гуманитарий мне приходится объяснять. Great. Медиан тоже знаете, да? Медиана, все. Great. Это только количественным данным. Вы знаете, да? To clarify, the use of particular statistical method depends on the scales in which the raw information is presented. For example, for nominal scales, номинальная шкала, да, you can create frequency, percentage distribution, and calculate mode. For ordinal scales, the median can also be calculated. I think it's not new information. So, a little bit about sociology of education. So, sociology of education, it's easy topic for you. About theorizing the significance of education. A little bit theory, a little bit about term. Education, like health, is often seen as unproblematic social good, to which everyone is entitled as a right. Who would not be in favor of it? Indeed, most people who have been through an education system and emerged literate, numerate, and reasonably knowledgeable would probably agree that education has been beneficial for them. However, there is a difference between education and schooling. Okay, education can be defined as a social institution which enables and promotes the acquisition of skills, knowledge, and the broadening of personal horizons. Education can take place in many social settings. Schooling, on the other hand, refers to the formal process, just a formal process, through which certain types of knowledge and skills are delivered. Normally via a pre-designed curriculum and specialized settings, schools. And schooling in most countries is typically divided into stages such as those in primary and secondary schools. У нас так не делится, да, вы знаете. У нас есть одна школа средняя. You know, in some developed countries, for example, USA, школа делится, да? Начальная школа отдельно и secondary school отдельно. In many societies, it is mandatory requirement for all young people up to specified age. So, glossary terms: education, cultural reproduction, economic capital, social capital, cultural capital, symbolic capital. Habitus: institutional racism, ethnocentrism. I added. Somebody of us said me about forms of capital. There is Bourdieu. Please repeat. Practice session for topics for you. Interesting topic. Making a comparative table to identify the advantages and limitations of the availability of free education in Kazakhstan. Okay, good presentation. I want to